Alright, Part 1, Introduction to Solidwork Basics. Chapter 1, Introducing Solidworks, Navigating Solidwork Interface and Working Through Sketches, Reference Geometry. Chapter 4, Creating Simple Parts and Drawings. Chapter 5, Utilizing Visualizing Techniques. Chapter 1, Introduction to Solidworks. In SolidWorks, you build 3D parts with the symbol of the 2D sketches features such as the extrude, eval, fill cuts, and holes among the others. You can put parts together into the assembly. You can create a 2D drawing from the 3D parts assembly. This chapter will familiarize with some of the basic concepts employed with the SolidWorks. In this chapter, you will learn to install software to get SolidWorks, identify different types of SolidWorks documentation, understand feature-based modeling, understand history-based modeling, sketch of the parametrics, control change of the design intent with the modified design intent, work with links between the document. Alright, we don't have the videos, we just have the book. Installing SolidWorks for the first time. Some of you will also have SolidWorks installed with you, but the people in the company or the SolidWorks resale expert, or in some of you will need to perform installation on your own. Regardless, it's best to make sure that the hardware is software compatible with the SolidWorks system requirements, which are available on the SolidWorks website, solidworks.com/SW support /system requirements HTML. SolidWorks installs natively only on 64 operating systems, unsupported only for the Windows 7 8.1 and 10, and okay for the professional level of the OS if it's recommended, but opposed to Home Edition except for the World, and Home Edition Excel and Word 2016 also recommended. Although it's possible to install with the run SolidWorks on your emulation Apple hardware configuration is not supported with the test of the SolidWorks Corporation or its resellers. You find with the graphics card requirement of the previously mentioned link with the system requirement. The main concern with the graphics card SolidWorks is monthly compatible with the OpenGL and the SolidWorks certified hardware change with it rapidly when they give it the specific recommendations here. In addition to having correct hardware installed, you must have the compatible drive the version installed. Again, refer to the SolidWorks system requirement website. Alternatively, you may want to get involved first if you can solve the software with all the default with the get started with usually the first attempt of this practice and installation, especially with the intent to learn as much as you can in SolidWorks, then come back and do more through the job implementing it later. You should count installation requirements of the 16 gigabyte of space of your hard drive, depending on the option you select with the item. Install location of the file with the cover computer will be by SolidWorks version of the operating system by your own installation choices, but the bulk of the files will be placed in two separate folders. And one of those is a program files folder, the other is a toolbox data folder. Before installing any software, be sure to exit out of all the software first, and then turn off the antivirus. Make sure that you have enough hard drive space to verify the system needs for the requirements outlined in the SolidWorks system requirements web page. Installation generally begin with a download with the installer application named SolidWorks Setup. It was about 30 megabytes. You will need to log in to access the area of the site. Find the download solidworks.com SW support with the download HTML shown in Figure 1. Once you've downloaded the execute the install, they will be prompted to unzip the installation file. The installation will begin with the show in Figure 1-2. Shows the SolidWorks installation manager for the next screen. Activate the serial number to 24-character code. Installation, you will be required to activate the SolidWorks license. Figure 1-3 show the activation page for the installation process, the difficulty of the want to contact your support organization. And then show the activation, reactivation, succeeding activation. Starting SolidWorks for the first time, SolidWorks has many tools available at the beginning of the software. Install with the default installation presents you with several options for the software. Start with the first of the time. The section includes the description of these items and how you can most benefit from them. If you have the plan with a formal SolidWorks resale of the base of the training class, be sure to go through some of the tutorials mentioned in the section first, so you will be prepared to ask educated questions and leg up of the rest of the class. You will get more out of the training with the instructor. More out of the training with the instructor if you already are seeing the material. Examining SolidWorks license agreement. Before familiar with the license agreement, it can be used for the agreement. It does not have the bearing of learning and how the software, other than the fact that always to reactivate its need, the ability to enable to use the license of different computers. For example, to work at home. Use your license home and make sure the software is installed with both of the location. Both locations are connected to the internet. Then activate your work when you're done working. Deactivate the license. Reactivate it at homes if it's same with using the same serial number. It would be a good idea to consult with a CAD administrator before you do this. You can activate the activation option help menu shown in Figure 1-4. Network licenses may work differently when you're done at home. Deactivated licenses at home, reactivate home at work. It's like a floating license when you serve the Solidworks facility. Again, contact your support organization question about any specific details. Using help menu, access the help menu in two-way with the question mark with the upright with the head, the drop down with the arrow next to it that enables you with the access the help option. The help also on the fly-out menu next to the Solidworks logo, upper left, you will find Solidworks often offers multiple ways to access the many of the commands. You should become comfortable at least one method for the access of the tools you need to use. It's necessary to know all the ways unless you're with the teaching of the others. View with the welcome of the Solidworks dialog. With the welcome Solidworks screen with the shown figure 1.5 with the first thing with the great with the win. You open the top with the help. You with the open recent file with the browse existing tab with the creating a new document advance button gives you the access to available templates. Templates will be covered later in the chapter. You can look at the tab of the folder each of the recent of the documents by hovering the mouse cursor over the preview. Figure 1.5 shows the welcome Solidworks screen. The tabs at the top of the dialog box, home, release, and learn, and alerts with the configured with the dialog show the various topics. The learn tab has the link with the various training and tutorial material sample the parts of the assembly. With the alert tab show the Solidworks news such as the release of the beta or special notes about the problem fixed of the software. Also note at the bottom of the welcome dialog with the tip of the day. You can cycle through these tips when you find with a few spare moments. Accessing what is new. You can find what's the new documentation help menu shown figure 1.4. You can also enable the interactive what's new option help menu what's new interactive. This adds a question mark with the asterisk symbol next to the menu items of the menu and have special help file entries. You will find more information about setting up Solidworks interface in Chapter 2, Navigating Solidworks Interface. Accessing other resources between help and welcome diagram. Solidworks offers several of the options help, including tutorials, what's new, and Solidworks forums. Creating a new document. To start the Solidworks documentation, click with the new icon tile bar with the Solidworks application with the standard function for creating a new document. Solidworks just like of the Microsoft Office application for the icons even look the same. Solidworks have three basic types of the documents. For the parts assembly and drawings, parts are the basic 3D file type. You put your parts together to create assemblies and the drawings with the 2D file type for the documentation parts and assemblies. When you create a Solidwork with the documentation will be shown with the screen figure 1.6 by default with the dialog box containing the template part of the assembly. Make your own custom template to add to them and share templates while others of the network templates for the template are already established. Setting of the most importantly units. You can change the units of documentation after the created, but most people find it easier to start with the correct units. You can mix unit parts and use unit parts of the different with the unit assemblies, but this can be confusing when editing parts and mixing units with the context of an assembly. So figure 1.7.1.6 shows selecting a template in new Solidworks documentation shows the part assembly or drawing 3D representation, single drawing, 3D arrangement part and other assembly, and then the drawing as an engineering typical with the part of assembly. Alright, templates also control the drafting standard of the document and American National Standard Institute and International Standard Organization are the two primary standards, although the others are available. One option you need to be aware of with the ISO standard, some of the location ISO standard with the first angle projection. The ASI users, some of the ISO use third angle projection system. Drafting standards is setting of the founding under the tools option of the document prop with the drafting standard shown in figure 1.7. The projection angle that could be specified both the drawings in part and assembly. You can find with the drawing setting by clicking on the right button mouse or RMB, which stands for right mouse button. Clicking on sheet entry with the feature manager with the left drawing with the document window selecting sheet properties. Figure 1.7 now shows the drafting standards set with the document property drafting standards with the document properties drafting standards. Projection of the type 3D parts is something that becomes important when you set up the viewports of the Solidworks window. Setting with the located with the tools option display selection projection type at the bottom of the list. It does not follow with the drafting standard. Select with the default tables templates over the country in which the software is installed. For more information, first and third angle projection, refer to Wikipedia article, wikipedia.org, wiki multi-view orthographic projection. Be sure to get the option correct. If someone else, such as a computer specialist who is not familiar with the mechanical drafting standards initial with Solidworks on your computer, verify the default templates for the correct standard within the units and projection method of the projection angle setting in the figure 1.8. Projection 1.8 show the projection angle settings in your which could be often in sheet properties and also your sheets right button mount button menu. properties. Identifying Solidwork document. Solidworks have three main data type of the file and parts. Assembly and drawings. However, if you're concerned with the customizing and creating implementation standards, you may want to become familiar with some of the additional support with the table of 1.1 outlined with the documentation. Table 1 shows the document types. You have the SLDASM or SolidWorks assembly file type, SolidWorks drawing file type, and SolidWorks part file type. Your templates are assembly type, your assembly custom properties type. You have a drawing template, drawing custom property template, design journal type template, which is journal doc. You have a print PRT dot with a part template, PRT, PRP, part custom property template. Bill of materials template, general table template, drawing sheet format, whole template, table template, the revision table template, welding cut list template, bill of materials, Excel based library description, library files and description, blocks library part, description, geometrical tolerance style, surface finishing style, weld style. Symbol files, a symbol that enables you to create a custom symbol. Line test style definition enables you to create a new line style. Others, sheet metal bending table, hole cutout, format file, color, pilot tab, SolidWorks setting file, material database, drafting standards, macro features, custom property files, sheet metal bending line note file, and sheet metal gauge table. Alright, unlike some of the other CAD programs, SolidWorks does not have the separate file types of the sheet metal weldment part. They are all solid PRT extensions featured for this problem that distinguish them as either sheet metal or weldment parts. Also, unlike other CAD programs, SolidWorks template has a special file type. For example, the part templates and it's not listed as just not as start parts. Saving your setup. If you need to reinstall SolidWorks, move to another computer, duplicate the setup with another user. You need to copy the files. You either customize by default. All of the files are located with the different folders. SolidWorks installation directory. Chapter 2 details with the interface, setting up the creating register, setting files to copy up the other computers, and using backup. Best practices when using performing complex implementation include the templates, various types of the tables, customized symbol file. It's especially important to have copies of the customized template, library files location for the default installation folder. You install SolidWorks. Installing a new version could wipe out all your hard work. Choose tools, options, file location. To establish separate library folders, local hard drive, network location. So if you're going to put a library in, you need to go through tools option and then put the file location. Using a template. If I've included some of my part with the assembly the templates for the download materials for this book, after you've downloaded the zip file for each of the chapter, extract the copies for them in the folder, especially for the tools option, file location, document templates. On the website, Wiley established website with the material in this book. You can download files for each chapter. That's wiley.com. Go Master Solid. Pause. Alright, when you begin creating a new document, the next SolidWorks document dialog box gives you the option to select one of several charts from the file with the templates, link it with the templates to start part of the containment of the document setting. Specifically setting for the part tools option document property. The same context apply with the assembly the drawing templates for example, do not have to be in geometry, although if it's possible. We're showing figure 1-6 several tabs with a display with the advanced interface. Each of the tabs resolve with creating a folder of template directory specialized option dialog. Tools option file location document templates. To switch to the novice interface to advanced interface, click the advanced button. Switch from advanced to novice, click the novice button shown figure 1-9. Multiple document templates. When starting with a new document, you will give them many with the option, but they have the multiple templates available. The offers for the advantage of many situations include the following: standardization, large number of user work produced with various unit, preset materials, preset custom properties, parts with special requirements such as sheet metal and weldments, parts of the assembly, standardization, background colors, drawing various sizes and formats, borders already apply, the drawing and special notes already on the sheet. Drawing templates, formats comply for the one I devote for the entire chapter of the chapter 24, automating drawing with the basics. Discover the difference between the drawing template, Formats how you use the advantage chapter drift of the part with the assembly tab and templates. Depending on your needs, it might be reasonable to do have the templates for the metric part with the assemble, the imperial parts with the assembly templates for the steel and aluminum templates for the stroke metal part with the weldment. If you design these type of parts, you will have your firm over the different. Your firm is different. Figure 1, 9 for the demands, advanced interface with no Solidworks document dialog box. As you can see, the new novice is over here on the right, on the left. And then advanced is on the top, and then advanced is below that if you click on advanced. Customer, the different requirements might consider the use of the separate templates easy for the customer over the time to discover the type of templates you need because you will find yourself repeatedly making the same change for the new parts. Create a template, you can open a document appropriate with the part assembly and the drawing to delete all the features over those possible with the use of the templates for the pre-created geometry. It's unusual making the settings as you want to the template, and for example, units are one of the most common reasons to make separate templates. Although the document property setting with a fair game of the dimension stand with the image quality settings, you can find these settings through the menu's tools option of the document property. Some of the document specific settings will do not appear with the document property dialog box for the name of the standard planes using active the reference geometry setting, still in the setting of the save template setting of the fall, and the categorizing view menus and any type of the visual option of the tool / sketching setting menu option. Custom properties for another area of the template puzzle. If you use and plan a bill of materials, the PDM or project data management, or link notes for the drawing you need to take advantage of the augmentation option available with the custom property to the default templates option available always for the default documentation template. Prompt you with the select the document template. Default templates option is applied with the situation when the template is required with the automatic feature for the software such as the import part with the mirror part. In this situation, depending on the option selected for the system, automatically use the default template user prompt to select the template. Performance allowing software to apply with the document automatically can speed up the process dramatically, especially if it's true with the case they imported. Some will require you to select with the template, manually each for the imported with the part with the some will prompt you to select with the documentation template option selected. Sharing templates. If you have the minister for the installation large number of the UV, even if the couple of the UV working on the similar design, share templates with the necessary. If the user would have she thinks is best. You may get an adverse combination conflicting idea with the consistency of the company with the documentation may suffer. Sharing templates cannot make users' models assembly details exactly the same way, but they do help users start on the same foot. To share templates among several users, create a folder for templates commonly accessible network location, preferably read-only access for the read-write permission for administrators. Then point each user to the file location default templates for the location symbol. Access problems due to the multiple user accessing same file but do not arrive at the situation because you give the copy of the templates created with the new documents do not use them directly. Alright, caution. One of the downfall of the arrangement and when the network goes down, I no longer have the access of the template with averted by only putting copies of the templates on the local computers. However, the tendency of the undermine with the goal of the consistent documentation, users may tend to use and customize local templates rather than using standard network copies. Understanding features-based modeling. Before diving into the building models of the Soliwork, you need to be familiar with some of the terminology. Notice I will talk about after modeling with the referred to the drawing, even as design. Whether you are building an assembly line for an automobile parts or designing decorative perfume bottles, Solidworks can help to visualize the geometrical production data with the most realistic way possible without actually having it in your hand. The more making a physical model within shop of the drawing on a paper, the feature base of the model, means of the build of the model, creating 2D sketches, applying with the features, process feature to create 3D shape. For example, you can create a simple block, so using extrude process, you can create a sphere relating with the roll process. However, you can make the cylinder using either process before revolving a rectangular, extruding a circle. Figure 110 show the image of the symbol, the feature of the types along with the 2D sketches which they were created. Figure 1.2 shows simple extrude revolve features. Many different types of Soliworks enable you to create everything in simple as geometry with a more complex shape. In general, when I talk about modeling in the book, I'm talking about solid modeling, although Soliworks also has a complete complement surfacing tool. I discovered the distinction between solid and surface modeling in the chapter 32 working with surfaces. Table 1-2 lists of some of the most common features Soliworks classified according to whether they always require a sketch with a sketch option, but never require with a sketch. As an example, the sketch optional features sweep, the use of the model edge of the sweep path, And then features such as squeeze, stretch required, extrude, loft, and fillet, revolve, sweep, and chamfer, rib, dome, and draft, hole, wizard, boundary, and shell, wrap, and deform, flex. In addition, these features for the other type of the feature for the cross-reference geometry, such as for the curve of the planes, axis surface features in Chapter 32, the specialty feature for the techniques like sheet metal, Chapter 34, using Solidworks sheet metal tools, and plastic molds in Chapter 38, plastic features, Chapter 39, using mold tools. Understanding the history of the base modeling. In addition to being featured for the base of the Soliwork, is also history based. The process of history is shown on the panel on the left side of the Soliworks window called the Feature Manager. Feature Manager keeps a list of the features in order to which you have added to them. It's also enabled to reorder items in the list in the tree. Affect the change of the history because of the order of which of the ROM operation is important. For example, the consider the figure 111. The model was created in the following process: from the left to right, starting with the top row, creating, sketching, extruding sketch, creating a second sketch, extruding, second sketch, creating a third sketch, extruding, cut, and third sketch, applying fillets and shell model. If the operation of the previous product was slightly reordered, the putting of the shell with the fillet feature before step 6, resulting parts would be likely slightly different as shown in figure 112. You find the parts for the download materials for this chapter, and then show the features you've then created simple pattern. Alright, and using a different order feature for the same part. Figure 113, showing comparison feature made with a design tree with the two different features the order you reordered with the dragging them up and down with the tree. However, the relation between the feature for the prevent them being reordered from being ordered. For example, the fillets for the dependent and the second extrude of the fillets feature for the cannot be reordered before it. Referred to as a parent or child relation. Reordering a parent-child relation will be discussed in the more detailed Chapter 12, editing, evaluating, troubleshooting. Alright, figure 113, comparing the feature manager for the design tree with the parts shown, figure 111 and 112, and it shows the design tree parts shown, feature menu. Alright, the order's operation history important with the final save of the part. For example, the chain with the order of the shell with the come with the extrude with the geometry with the model with the chain with the remove the sleeve inside instead of the hole on the top. You can try with it yourself with the opening of the part with the indicating with the previous dragging shell feature with the feature manager with the dropping and just above the cut extrude one feature. No, you can drag only one item at a time with the feature manager. If you try to drag more than one, only selective the item in the drag. Therefore, you may drag the shell with the drag each of the two fillets. You can just drag the cut feature for the down the tree. Alternately, you can pull the put the shell on the fillets and fold the drag with the fold in new location. Remove order is limited by parent and children relation between the dependent features. You can read more about the reordering folders in Chapter 12. Some case for the reorder feature for the feature may have the can have the result, but it does not make any sense. For example, the fillets applied with the shell after the shell that might break through the inside of the part. In this case, the Soliworks given an error that would help with the fix of the problem. Feature for the really like just like with the building a part with the steps over the added material, remove the end in both. However, when you make the part with the mill and lathe, you're only removing the material. Some of the people that achieve the modeling following the manufacturing method, so they start with a piece of the stock and apply with the feature for the remove the material that you would be on as you would in a mill. The approach will work best for the machine, but it does not work well with the molding, casting, and sheet metalling progressive dies. Feature manager is like an instruction sheet to build the part when reordering and revive the list of the feature you change with the order operation unless the final result. Some of the people look at the feature manager as a recipe for cooking. Alright, sketching parametric. Sketching is the foundation underlying of the most common feature for the type that you will find with the sketching parametric software is very different from the drawing line 2D CAD. Dictionary.com defines the parameter as one set of the measurable factors. It defines it for the determine the behavior that varied in an experiment with the Soliwork sketch for the parametric, the meaning of the create with the sketch with the change according to the certain rule of the maintaining the relationship through the chain of the creating sketch for the feature for the intelligent base for the concept of the design intent with the will which cover the more detail in chapter. Addition 2D sketch for the Soliwork also made 3D sketch possible. The two of the methods of the 2D sketches are available by far more widely used. You create a 2D sketch, selected plane your face, and then you establish shape of the figure with extrude, revolve, and others. Relation to 2D sketches is often created with the sketch at even after the model and edges. may or not be sketch plane within a situation with the other, and either not in the sketch plane with the out plane within the particular sketch plane with the direction of the normal sketch plane, but it does not happen in 3D sketch. You can use 3D sketch for the whole with the round weldments, complex shape with the creation among them applications. For more information, 3D sketching, refer to Chapter 6, Getting More from Your Sketches. For a simple example of working with a sketch relation with the 3D sketch with the sketch shown in Figure 114. The only relationship of the four lines are that they are closed, looped, and touching end to end with one of the corners consistent with the part with the origin, small with the square icon near the origin, symbol with a coincident sketch relation. These sketch relations are persistent with the chain that enable the dynamic move of the sketch element with the cursor on the screen. Secondly, enable to disable displaying with the sketch relation symbols are found in view sketch relations. Figure 114 shows the sketch of four lines chain with a relationship with the dimension as are added. If you drag unconstrained corners except for the corner consistent with the origin of the two neighboring lines, form the dragged endpoint shown in Figure 114. Note that the ghost image left the original position of the sketch for helpful when you are experimenting with the chain of the sketch, because you have both new and old states of the sketch that enabled you to disable the ghost position with the tools option sketch ghost image on drag. If you had parallel relations between the opposing line with the knob or act differently as shown with the Figure 114, you have parallel relations. Selecting two lines with the control select to make the parallel. Selecting parallel with the text toolbar with the property management panel. You can read more about property management Chapter 2. But next, add the secondary parallel horizontal relationship shown in Figure 114. If you are following along with the recreating of the sketch on the computer, you know if the one line has turned with the blue to black line colors representing the sketch states. It may be impossible to see with the black and white printing of the book. If you are following along with your computer, you should see one black line, three blue lines. The sketch for the underdefined, overdefined, fully defined, and unsolvable zero length with the diagonal. These are included as follows. Blue underdefined, the sketch etny is not completely defined, but you can drag with a portion over the chain of the type of the position over the orientation. Black, fully defined. The sketch entity is fully defined combination sketch relation with the dimension. The sketch cannot be fully defined without being connected in some way to something else external to the sketch, such as part origin, edge exemption with the rule with the U of the fixed constraint with which for the effect is not recommended practice. Red overdefined, not solved, which sketch entity that has two or more relations, one that cannot be satisfied by the unsatisfied relation will be in red. For example, if the line has both the horizontal and vertical relation, but the line actually vertical to the vertical relation will be yellow because it's conflicting but satisfied, and the horizontal will be red because it is conflicting but not satisfied. Yellow under overdefined conflict. Solving the sketch relation would result in a zero length entity. For example, this can occur when the arc tangent into the line. Center point of the arc is coincident to the line brown dangling. Relationship to the lost track of the entity which is connected. Entity of the different state can exist with a single sketch. In addition, with the endpoints of the line can have the different state than the rest of the sketch entity. For example, the line with the sketch horizontal with the origin coincident with the one endpoint with the origin. The line itself with the horizontal resolve of the line first endpoint with the black and the other endpoint with the underdefined. We cover the length of the line that is not defined. Sketch shapes indicate the lower right with the corner with the graphic window with the taskbar. You can see with the dragging one over the corners allows only the lines to make it certain ways as shown in Figure 114. In addition, with sketch relation with the dimension applied with the U of the smart dimension tools, also with the part of the parametric scheme and applying with the angle dimension. Clicking with the two angled lines, smart dimension tool with the origin with the try dragging as shown in Figure 114. You will see that the only aspect not locked down is the length of the side. Notice that all of it with the angle dimension is added, another line turns black. Finally, adding length with the dimension for the unequal sides with the completeness, complete with the definition of the sketch as shown in Figure 114 with the potion. At this point, with all the lines turned black, the state is called fully defined between the dimension sketch relation. That is enough information to recreate the sketch exactly. Best practice. It is widely considered best practice to fully define all the sketch for the control of how the sketch reacts to the potential change. Parametric relations with the sketch control of the sketch react with the change of the dimension relation with the sketch or by some other factor by outside of the sketch. Other factors can be derived with the sketch as well as such equations of the mold geometry with external with the sketch, even geometry from another part of the assembly as you see later. Understanding design layout and intent. Design intent is a phrase that you will hear often among Solidwork users. I like to think of it as designer chain, but the design intent means You put your parametric sketch relation within dimensions together with the feature of the intelligence. You can build models that relate to the change in a predictable way that you can have with a great deal of control over the change. The example of the design intent could be the statement of the described general aspect of the help. Define the design as probably such that it is symmetrical with the whole line up with the part A and thick enough to be flush with part B. From the description of the surrounding parts, it is possible to recreate the part with such a way that the part A and part B change. The part being described and updates the match. Sometimes the change of this can be covered. The feature of the fail of the sketch relation with the conflict. In most situations, Solidworks has ample tools for the troubleshooting, editing that you can use to repair, change of the model. In these situations, it often design intent itself the changing. Best practice. Consider best practice to edit existing entities rather than deleting them. Deleting the otherwise called the problem with items that have relation to the entity but deleted. Many users find it tempting to delete anything that has an error on it, but you should avoid this practice. Editing design intent. One of the most prominent aspects of the design in general is changing. I said that you may design something once, but you will change it a dozen times. You'll find that it has been true both sketching and 3D modeling. Design intent sometimes throughout with the shag concept of the control, change of the geometry, however the design intent itself often changes, thus requiring the way in which the model reacts with the geometric change should also change. Fortunately, Solidworks has many tools to help you deal with the changing requirements. Choosing sketch relations. The sketch relation symbol the most helpful tools for the visualizing design intent. You can show them the hide icons representing the relationship by choosing view sketch relations from the heads up tool view toolbar. Through the menu, view, hide, show the sketch relations. When the show of the relations appear on the icon, small colored box with a graphic area the next to sketch entity. Click on the icon, highlight sketch elements involved with the relation. Refer to figure 115 example of these relations. Alright, you see the eyeball in sketch 115, and it's turned off on and off display of the sketch. Then show the view of the sketch relation, control the visibility of the sketch relations. Tip: review sketch relations option, an excellent candidate for you with a hotkey, thereby enabling you to easily toggle on and off. For more information creating and managing hotkeys, see Chapter 2. You can use the sketch relation icon with a screen with a delete relation by selecting the icon graphics and pressing the delete on the keyboard. You can use them quickly and determine the status of the sketch relation by referring to the colors defined earlier. Alright, this one has an annotation displaying delete. It also shows the selecting display and delete relations. Displaying and delete relation tools enable you to list, sort, detail, repair, sketch relations. You can find display, delete, relations, tools, sketch toolbar, sketch status, school, colors defined earlier. This is also repair. Apply here. When relations appear appropriate to color, relations are not shown in blue or black. Only the colors show the error, such as red, yellow, or brown. This tool enables you to group relations to several categories. All in this sketch and dangling, over defining, not solved with external, defining context, locked, broken, and selected entities. In the lower entities panel with the display deletion relation property manager shown on the figure 116, you can replace the one entity with another or repair dangling relations. Figure 116 shows the display of the delete relations on property manager enables you to repair the broken in property manager. Enables you to repair broken relations or replace entities. You can read more about repairing and dangling in Chapter 6. Using suppressed sketch relations. Suppressing a sketch relation means that the relation is turned off and not used to compute with the position of the sketch entity. Suppressed relations generally use the conjunction with the configuration. You can also suppress relations temporarily to resolve the problem. Configuration discussed. Detail Chapter 11, working with part configurations. Working with associative. In SolidWorks, associative refers to the link between the documents, such as the part with the associative link of the drawing with the parts of the chain with the drawing, update with the bidirectional, associative the meaning of the part with the chain with the part with the drawing with the document window. One of the implications that you do not edit with the SolidWorks drawing with the simply modify with the moving the line with the drawing. They must chain with the 3D model, which will cover the drawing view of the parts and some update correctly. Other associative links but include the using inserted parts, also cover the base of the derived parts, where one part is inserted with the first to feature, with another part with the might be case with the you will build with the casting, with the part with the design in its cast state, with the inserted in another part where the machine operation performed a cut feature of the part and then transformed into as a machine state. The technique is use the plastic part with a single shape of the span with a multiple plastic piece with the master part created with a split with the multiple parts. Example would be a mouse cursor over the Buttons. One of the most important aspects associated with the file management, associated file stays connected to the file name, document name of the chain with one of the associated file is not updated. The property for the association between files can be broken. For this reason, you should add and either use Solidworks Explorer chain with the name of the associated file. The best practice, consider the best practice of Soliwork and Soliwork Explorer to rename associated parts. Avoid using Window Explorer. Bottom line, even easy access to your tools cuts just seconds out of the work time every day, but a good habit will cut minutes, and several good habits can cut hours. Master it. After SolidWorks has been installed, show them in the chapter 5 with the desktop icon. Put in your taskbar easy access to interface element. File organization. One of the key successful SolidWorks implementation. While they don't expect you will find expect you with everything figured out with the stage of the learning you need to start thinking about with the management of the SolidWorks library templates for the key feature for this, as well as your project data. Master it. Make sure you know what your setting of the tool options located with the identified location templates chain with the location necessary. One of the key concepts of managing SolidWorks associated with the data for the creative in one file can be shown in another file. For example, the part data is shown with both assembly and drawing. Master it. Open SolidWorks drawing and drag a SolidWorks part onto it. Make a change of the parts and watch an update on the drawing. Chapter 2, Navigating SolidWorks Interface.